Hello, my crocodile friends. Let's see what's going on with you. First of all, resting, submerging, collecting energy, cooling off. The crocodile reminds us to step back from the external world and turn inward. Now is not the time for decisions, actions, or discussion. And of course, they are cold-blooded. Let's see. The crocodile's mantra is wait. This doesn't mean lying around hoping life's challenges will disappear. The crocodile is much smarter than that. It means intentionally withdrawing, gathering our awareness, observing and building energy, perhaps coming up with a strategy. Fill up the vital reserves so your next move comes from a place of wisdom and power. All right. So, when in balance, wise, patient, a silent powerhouse. When out of balance, feels stuck, lashes out. To bring into balance, rest, Mahavrasana pose. Okay. I don't remember which one that is. But if you're someone who practices yoga, maybe you do know. And that was helpful to you. All right, next. Or perhaps this is an indication you are someone who practices yoga. All right, next we have the tea leaf cards, which are here to help you determine whether or not this is your reading. We start off with bread and crib. Period of prosperity and abundance, and crib, birth or conception of a child or enterprise. I'm thinking you're an entrepreneur. You have an idea. It is coming, it's developing, it's gelling. Perhaps it is ready to be born, come into existence. And you certainly have high hopes for it. Then we have spear, pale. Heartache over what you no longer have, and time to get out of a situation. Well, I guess a relationship has come to an end. Wreath, sorrow over a loss, and table, hard work ahead. Perhaps you are turning to work as a way to cool off, distract yourself from this situation that did not work out. Okay. So, that should be familiar to you in some way. Let's see. I mean, you've got a couple of issues here pretty clearly that you might want some advice or inspiration on. Let's see what Tarot has to say about why you are here. What are you looking for? Well, these cards are kind of opposite to each other. The Six of Pentacles is about reciprocity. And then we have the Seven of Swords, which is about lies, deceit, and betrayal. Of course, we also had an indication here that something is over, and that, possibly this is referring to this situation in particular. It's also possible that perhaps a therapist is recommended, because this reciprocity can be about getting professional help with something services you pay for. So it's a fair exchange, and maybe you need some help getting over this sense of betrayal. Maybe you need some help with cooling off. We have a Page of Wands. It is in the upright, so this could be referring to a child. But if it's referring to an adult, it's someone who is, at the very least, very youthful at heart. Someone who has a lot of joie de vivre. They enjoy their life. They know how to have fun. And they may not have much in the way of responsibilities. They may, in fact, be a young adult. So they kind of, right at this point in time, they are very lighthearted in how they approach life and how they move through life. And that may be entirely appropriate depending on their circumstances. But that kind of person can be very charming and fun to be around, of course, as all the Wands court cards are. The Wands court cards are not necessarily in it for the long haul, though. And that may have felt like a betrayal if you were looking for something different. So there is no movement here. Which you have the crocodiles, and so maybe this is not the time for movement. This is the time for gathering your resources, perhaps recovery, resting. Well, I guess this wanted to come out. All right. The World, the end of a chapter. Oh, we already got an indication of that, didn't we? Right here. Time to get out of a situation. The World, the end of a chapter. Now, this particular ending may not feel like it's success, but if you measure success, well, depending on how you measure success, that will determine how you see it. Because you can measure success as money, or a relationship that continues, that feels healthy and fulfilling. Anything that makes you feel healthy and fulfilled can be seen as success. If you have learned a lesson from this and are able to move on wiser, if not at the moment happier, then perhaps it is a success. Yeah, so we have the Star. You do need to do some healing here. This can be a card of miracles, but it is definitely a card of healing and letting go, cleansing yourself of old stuff. Appropriate for a crocodile, right? Resting in the water. In the deep, cool water, cooling off. Yep, getting away, moving away from a troubled, difficult time or situation. A lot of the cards are landing on edge. I don't know what to make of that. I suppose I have to make a decision on that. All right, so we have justice, obviously fairness, taking accountability, responsibility for one's actions. And that may be something you need to consider. Have you what were your actions in this situation? It's very important to see things clearly, accurately. We do have an owl here, so definitely an implication of sight and wisdom. Also, whoops, oh, I didn't expect that. Nine of Cups. This is the card of doing a lot of work in the background, and then everything comes together all at once and everybody thinks it just came out of nowhere because they didn't notice all the work that you were doing. Now, I did a short reading earlier today that had the Ace of Wands also in this uncertainty position. So maybe that will be relevant to you, maybe not. Anyway, we do have the Ace of Wands in an uncertainty position. So there is, there was a thought that there was a great deal of potential, a passionate new beginning. That doesn't have to be romance, although you certainly have a lot of indications of heartbreak here. Although, interestingly, you haven't had a single card come out about your feelings. Or by at least in terms of heartbreak. I have not seen any heartbreak cards here. Okay? So maybe you're well past that point. Or maybe this isn't affecting your heart so much as it's affecting your pride. All right. So why is the Ace of Wands here in the uncertainty position? So lack of balance. You haven't done the work on yourself. Seven of Pentacles is about putting in the effort to cultivate yourself. Wow. And it looks like, in particular, you're really being called to cultivate the spiritual side of your life. There is a lack of balance between the material and the spiritual. Perhaps you've been very materially focused. You have neglected probably every other aspect of your life other than the material money-making sides. That was the only two things in your reading, in your tea leaf cards. A focus on making money and a focus on a broken heart. Except the broken heart, there's no sign of a broken heart in these cards. Okay? Whatever your feelings may have been, either you are completely over them, or maybe you're completely suppressing your feelings. I don't know. That's a possibility, I suppose. Or maybe you were never as emotionally invested in this as you thought you were. Maybe it was really more about your pride. But anyway you look at it, it seems that you have neglected other aspects of your life and they need attention. So, what do you need to know? What do you need to hear, consider, think about? What needs to be brought to your attention? Are you feeling stuck and weighted down? restrictions, addictions, heavy burdens, baggage, codependency, trapped, difficult relationship. I'm going to need some clarification on that card. Okay. Cards are being very difficult today. Island. So perhaps your response to this situation is to isolate yourself. You are learning, perhaps, some emotional regulation. Oh, what's this? You had the Three of Pentacles hiding on the floor there. So I'm not sure you're, well, So the Three of Pentacles is about working with others, collaborating. But you don't seem too sure about that. So let's just leave that for the moment. See if it comes out. So, I think you have your own issues to deal with, and this alone time may be the perfect opportunity to do it. Maybe you have come to that conclusion as well. Steady forward movement. That's wonderful. It does say, I think I can, in reference to that very, very old children's story. I think it dates back to maybe the 30s or 40s, maybe even earlier. But in any case, there's a desire to get established, which we already saw in your tea leaf cards. Ambition, you want to work on your career, develop your career, perhaps not the internal development that it looks like is being called for. But we also have love, desire, joy, bliss. Kindness and forgiveness. Are you capable of kindness and forgiveness? It's not all about money, especially if you want to be in a healthy relationship. Of course you want both. A fulfilling career and a healthy relationship. Doesn't everybody want that? An aha moment. Some kind of realization, breakthrough, enlightenment, epiphany. So, perhaps you have had or are going through some kind of an awakening. So we have this light bulb moment, an aha moment, epiphany, metamorphosis, embrace change, evolution of the soul, reinventing yourself, breaking the rules, becoming independent, nonconformist, unconventional, outside the box. So most likely you are or will be, or, well, we'll see. Yep. Breaking free of whatever your established situation was. As usual, this is a major detour, disruption of your life, how you thought you would live. Perhaps you are moving away from what you thought you wanted. You probably had some very conventional ideas about what success was, about how you wanted your life to look. And now you have a complete course disruption as you have started to rediscover yourself, return to who you really are. So this is all, pretty nice. There's definitely more work to be done. This is a process. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. Some things, you'll have an epiphany and the change will start. And then, the change tends to be internal at first. And then gradually it changes, your outer life changes as well. And that part generally takes some time. Sometimes a lot of time. It could take years. You are essentially starting over from who you were always meant to be, or who you always were. But you are returning to that person and leading your life more authentically, I think. And that definitely changes how you interact with others. And it has an impact on all your relationships. It definitely changes the course of your life. My life is nothing like what I thought it would be. And that's okay. But let's see, what should we pull for you now? I'm leaning towards archetypes. You're more of an archetype person? See if we can get 3 cards for you. Cards have not been coming out easily today. But you have the desert. You may feel like you're in the desert. And we have the animal. All right, one more. The pilgrim. Well, this all seems very spiritually oriented, perhaps? Let's see. I'm not sure about the animal, but the desert and the pilgrim, they're definitely giving me a spiritual journey kind of feeling. So we have 20, 37, and 19. Okay. Starting off with the pilgrim. The wanderer, the traveler, the apprentice. Ooh, you're the apprentice. That's exciting. For the pilgrim, an outward journey is always an inward journey. This archetypal wanderer seeks wisdom, experience, and meaning in the farthest reaches of the globe and the deepest regions of the spirit. Others will wonder when the pilgrim will settle down and claim a more conventional life. But the pilgrim knows that the heart belongs in motion. Where there is motion, there is freedom, expansion, and growth. Responsibilities, social conventions, and logistics lull us to sleep, and soon the pilgrim becomes veiled in the slumber of the day-to-day. Yet when this archetype awakens, it rallies our sense of adventure and leads us out the door toward a new reality. Yeah, I'm definitely getting that sense from you. With the pilgrim at your side, you will never lack courage, nor do you need every amenity. Travel light, travel soon. Your spirit needs it. When light Learns, grows, adapts, studies. When dark, aloof, non-committal, flaky. That's a bit Page of Wands. All right. Even in the stillness of meditation, the pilgrim feels the movement of the heart towards what it loves. We all have a deep longing to answer the call, to get unstuck. What are the obstacles between you and the door? All right, 37. The desert, the drought, the wasteland, the badlands. The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. Oh, you're feeling a bit lost, are you? For endless miles, we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal. To become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life, the desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright and its darks terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truths reside in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, and the coyotes' calls surround you. Let the winds and sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. When light, surreal, strange, unexpected visions, silence. When dark, drying, deadening, disorienting, isolating. The desert is alive and pulsing with energy despite its desolate appearance. Turn toward it rather than away from it. When in the throes of the desert, contemplate the following. You are not alone. You have more supplies with you than you think. Water is very near. I think you're having a tough time with this. Okay, the animal, the beast, the wild one, the she-wolf. We are mammals. The hair on our chest and between our legs reminds us so. We try hard to deny our unrefined animalistic nature. Yet through this archetype, we tap into power and direction. Well, you were feeling aimless and directionless. Here you go. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense. Drinking from waterfalls, roaring at the moon, opening eyes underwater, eating berries from the vine. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints, and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. The animal longs for breath, food, procreation, and physicality. It wants soil under our nails and starlight on our skin. If this all sounds terribly unsophisticated to you, take note that it is said that when Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a great lion. When light, vital, elemental, alive, dances. When dark, savagery, pent-up emotion, lashing out. Notice your resistance to the animal within. Where does it come from? What has it kept you from doing, wild one? The animal demands we get comfortable in our own skin. The minute you accept, express, and celebrate the physical body, you tap into animal energy. So, my friends, are you out of touch with your body? That's a common problem, honestly. And there are obvious solutions to it, by which I mean yoga, tai chi, qigong, mindful practices, not going to the gym so much because, going to the gym could be done mindfully, but I don't know of anybody who does it that way. So yes, anything that makes you more mindful and aware of your own body would probably be a good thing for you right now. The fact that you didn't have cards come out for how you felt, this heartbreak that you've apparently experienced, but you didn't have any cards coming out about feeling it. Maybe that's your major challenge right now, is to feel. So, I am wishing you all the best in whatever direction your journey takes you. Till next time.